live. Welcome to this week's Teaching Raid live stream, coming to you from Sarlona. Sorry for the late notice. I just noticed about 10 minutes ago as I was getting things set up that I never put the announcement out for this one. So we'll see if anybody at all joins us for the live stream. Hey, there's a couple folks now. Welcome Unix and David Wolf. So, haven't done Teaching Raid live stream in a couple weeks. Last week we had off. Only have 3 events left. 2 after this week. And then Teaching Raids are done for the year. So, tonight we're going to be doing Temple of the Deathwyrm and Fire on Thunder Peak. And we got 4 people signed up for the event who are learning it. Everybody here who's in the group right now are my guildies, and they're here like every week to help make things a smooth run. Hey, Death Demon, welcome. And they're here to check my work too, because sometimes, you know, I make a mistake or I say something wrong or I leave something important out. So they check my work. They keep me in check, and I appreciate that very much. If you haven't joined us for one of these teaching raids before, one of the live streams, you know, these are events that are set up for folks that are new to raids and are just learning them. And sometimes we get folks that are brand new to the game. Sometimes we get people who are longtime veterans who just maybe never got into raiding before, or maybe they're just new to whatever raid we happen to be doing for that week. And so we take things nice and slow. We explain everything, or at least the essentials. You know, Deathwyrm is a pretty convoluted raid, so you know, we're not going to be going over every single puzzle, for example. But we'll be providing as much instruction and detail as reasonably possible. If the folks watching the live stream have any questions at any step of the way, please ask. I will be monitoring chat. My attention will be focused on the folks here learning the raid, but I'll be watching chat when I can and answering questions when I can. And I probably have some of my guildies who are in here right now are probably going to be watching the chat as well. So I'm going to take a few minutes to get the sign-ups in here. So if you're watching the live stream, you got a few minutes to go grab a drink or something before the action gets started. I'm going to be inviting folks now. Hey Stein, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
So far, so good.
Welcome, Angry Tiger.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Ictomy. We have one more sign up who I saw standing here a few minutes ago, and now I don't see him. There he is. Hey Sahaga, welcome.
Thank you. Even all.
No, you're super soft, can't even hear you. Okay guys, that's everyone. And everybody who's signed up this week has attended teaching raids before. So y'all know the deal, but just a reminder, if you have any questions at any point along the way, you're lost, you're not sure what to do, you want more explanation on something, just let me know. and I'll be happy to explain. And don't hesitate to interrupt me, otherwise I'm just going to keep explaining things. Especially if you're lost. I don't want you to get stuck way back somewhere. Before we get started, I know some of you told me this when you signed up, but I want to ask again, who here has never done this raid before? We're gonna do Temple of the Deathworm first, or if you've done it a few times and you're still learning. I know at least one of you, I think, had maybe done it once before. And I also want to know the folks watching the live stream right now,
I've done Fire on Thunder Peaks one time, but the other one I haven't done at all.
What server you're from, and if you've done these raids. What about you, Iktimi? Have you done this raid before? Yeah, go for it. I won't say anything critical while you're gone. So we're going to do Temple of the Deathworm first, and it's a pretty, involved raid. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of different stages and zones and things. It's easy to get lost, it's easy to get overwhelmed. So, just like all of our events, I know things can be overwhelming when I'm giving so much instruction, but, as much as you can, just try to relax and have fun. And like I said, if you have questions, let me know. Also want to remind you guys that I am live streaming this. We just have half a dozen people watching us now. In fact, I forgot to put out the announcement for this one. So viewership will be probably lower than usual, but there probably won't be more than, half a dozen people, or excuse me, about a couple dozen people watching us at any given time. But there are people from other servers who usually are watching and learning along with us and asking questions in the chat and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then after Temple of the Deathworm, which, like I said, it's a pretty involved raid, then we're going to do Fire on Thunder Peak, which is a much simpler raid. It's just like one big football field with a couple of dragons and some trash mobs. I think I'm going to step away just for a second while he's relogging. I will be right back. If you guys want to top off your drinks or something while he's doing that, go for it. Be right back. I'm back. There was a time when these were endgame raids, and the High Lords ran these raids like crazy, but they're a little bit older now. 5 years old now, I think, or going on 5 years old. And the gear from these raids, is definitely aging. It's definitely aging in relevance. And we're going to go ahead and talk to Ingrid here and tell her that you want to go to Oglaros's lair. But we ran these a ton in High Lords back in the day, but these aren't raids that are part of our regular routine. In fact, we ran them earlier this week just to sort of brush up on things because it's been so long. I haven't run these since we did them as a teaching raid earlier this year, and before that I don't think I had run them since last year's teaching raids. So. And by the way, if you turn around, you'll see that's where, for those of you, well, you're all new to this, so most of you probably just flagged. And that's where you fought Sarva Balistray, or whatever her name is, the dragon mistress, or whatever. The one that you needed to kill to flag for this raid is right there. You can see her chest, but when you come into the zone this way, she's not going to be there. You have to, like, go through the whole zone. Okay, Ictomy. Just to be sure, just check your options, audio, scroll down to voice playback device. All the way at the bottom, it's 3 up from the bottom. There's a little pull down menu, voice playback device, and make sure you have that set properly. Sometimes, if you use another application, TeamSpeak or whenever I use whenever I use Skype, it always messes up my settings in the game. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're at least hearing us through the phone. There's probably going to be some delay. I don't know. But like I said, we're just going to do this one on hard. Go ahead and step in when you're ready. I'm sure that we could do elite, but like with all the teaching raids, I don't want things to be like stressful and us having to like worry about trying to stay alive. I want us to be able to focus on learning the mechanics of the raid and not stressing about things. So just going to do hard. Especially the end fight. The whole raid is really involved, but the end fight, there's a lot of stuff going on in the end fight. And I think it's actually pretty neat the way they did it. Okay, we're all in. Let's get some buffs. This raid does not lock until you get like right before the end fight. So people can join late, really basically up until the end fight. Once you get to like the shrine room right before the... Yeah, I hear you now. Did you get it working? Once you basically get like to the shrine room before the end fight, what's going to happen is this portal that's in front of us will disappear. So people could like get in here.
Seems to work now. Thank you.
Cool. I'm glad it's working. So people could get into the raid here, like once you've started the end fight, but that portal wouldn't be there, so they wouldn't be able to get to like the end fight and get loot and stuff. So once the point there is that like once you start the end fight, or once you get to the shrine room before the end fight, you wouldn't ever want to detour at that point, because you'd be stuck here. Okay, let's go ahead and step in. And kind of a big zone here with a bunch of mirrors. There's a whole bunch of mirror puzzles in this raid. There's 6 very large mirror puzzles. A little bit overdone, but it is what it is. If you look up, you'll see Aglarasa, the Shadow Dracolich up there, and she's going to be breathing negative energy down on us. If you get her aggro, she's the one. If you're the one she's breathing at, it's the best thing for you to do is just to go underneath her. She can't hit you if you're underneath her, like at the top of the steps. So it's like free piking if that happens to you. But her breath weapon isn't really that big of a deal. It's just more of an annoyance than anything else. So we got 6 mirror puzzles to do, and there's gonna be some trash mobs too. And if you're not doing a mirror puzzle, then it's helpful if you can work on trash. But what a lot of people end up doing is they just end up piking at the stairs, and then sometimes if trash gets out of hand, then people doing the puzzles can get a little irritated that nobody's helping out with trash. So it's definitely a good thing if you can help out with trash, puzzles are being done if you're not doing it. But I want everybody to watch what I'm doing. Go ahead and come over here, like right where we came in, jumping up and down, so you can see where I'm at. And I'm just going to walk you through this first one, and then for the successive puzzles, the new folks can play around with them. But you just got to guide this laser beam. You know, when this came out, this was like brand new. The mirror puzzle thing was brand new for this raid. Also, don't stand in the beam. It will kill you, just like other mirror puzzles. But these mirror puzzles have showed up in many quests since this. The solution is always the same. Like I said, there are 6 of these mirror puzzles, and it's always the same every raid. I don't even have them memorized because I find them generally easy to just sort of figure out as I'm going. Sorry, Stein.
Ow.
That is an example of what not to do. So, but I'm glad it happened, because there's a mechanism here. There's a unique mechanism, and that is, you can see when he died, there's a Keeper of Stein that spawned, and in order to raise him, you gotta kill the Keeper, and that mechanic is in like this part of the raid, like and in the end fight, but not in. There's some puzzles and things where that mechanic isn't in place. However, there is a workaround that really everybody does. Normally, we don't teach workarounds in our teaching raids. We sort of teach proper methods, but it's something that everybody does, and if you ever join this raid, you're going to be expected to do this. So that's why I'm going to explain to you the workaround for the death mechanic. And that is that you just run away from your soul stone so far that you bounce back, and then you do that twice. If you run away from your soul stone and bounce back twice, then you can be raised. So if you die in this raid, you're going to be expected to do that. Nobody's going to kill your Keeper, so just let you know. For most of, you know, if you're just sort of figuring out the mirror puzzles, most of the time there's only one way that it makes sense for the beam to go. You know, each beam hits the mirror. It can only be directed one of 2 ways, you know, left or right. And most of the time there's only another mirror one way. But sometimes, you know, there's one other ways. But it's not too bad to figure out. Some people like to work backwards. But we're just going to guide the beam over to a relay crystal. Now the little laser gun that starts the laser can actually be turned, but for most of the puzzles, you just want to leave it in the direction that it starts in. But there's one puzzle that it's a little bit faster if you move it. Remember, Ictomy, just go ahead and run away from your soul stone twice until you bounce back. Do that twice, and that'll get rid of your Keeper and let you raise. Doesn't matter which way you go. And I do want the new folks to stay with me. I'm going to try not to kill you.
Promises, promises.
Feel free, if if you haven't done any of the quests where that has these laser beams, feel free to step in the beam. It's not an insta-kill, you know. For a long time we thought it was, but it actually just does a hell of a lot of damage. It will insta-kill most people, but if you have a shit ton of hit points, I think you can actually survive it.
It's between 2,000 and 3,000 points of damage, depending on various DRs that you might have.
Okay, I'm going to experiment with myself. Here, I'm going to do it.
See there, I just took 2,100.
I survived it. Hell yeah. TS, you're asking, can I do a breakdown on the Crucible upper maze puzzle? I'm not sure what you mean by Crucible upper maze puzzle. Are you talking about the quest at Crucible and Giant Hole? Okay, so now that the first mirror puzzle is done, there's this portal that appears in the north east of the zone. Go ahead and go and click through this portal.
Ready for race.
And now we're going to go to the shadow side. TS, I have a full walkthrough of the Crucible on my channel already, so I would recommend that you just pull up that video and fast forward to that part. I actually have at least one video where I solo the quest, so you can watch me solo it, or I have other like group videos of the Crucible as well. Okay, so now we're on the shadow side. Throughout the raid, we're going to be bouncing back and forth between like the shadow side and the light side. And so it's like the same zone, but like a shadowy version of it. And there's another mirror puzzle. So I want the new folks, you know, anybody who's feeling adventurous, go ahead and start playing with the mirrors. If more than one people want to do it, one of you can work from the like the end crystal, and one of you can work from the start. Go for it, Angry Tiger. You can't mess up anything with the mirror puzzle. All you can do is kill people. And if you're in a pug and you shoot people, sometimes they're going to get upset with you. But, I don't know. Like, these days, most people have done this raid, so it's like, you know, people should know not to, where to stand. Some people will, however, set up the entire puzzle and then turn it on. What'd you say, Angry?
Oh, I think I got it to me with the beam.
Ick-to-me, go ahead and run away from your soul stone until you bounce back and do that twice. Just click on the mirrors to turn them. Like I said, if there's somebody else, I encourage you to work from the end. There's actually two different laser beams in this one, with two different ending crystals. Both the ending crystals are near the steps in the east of the zone. But yeah, like I was saying, some people will actually set up the whole puzzle, and then once they get all the mirrors in place, then they'll turn on the laser. So I guess that's kind of a courtesy, and then when they do that, they'll announce like incoming laser. But in the High Lords, when we do this raid in guild, we constantly are trying to kill each other with the laser beam, so much so that we might even wait till like one of our guildies walks in the path of the laser beam, then turn it on, hoping to kill them. It's just sort of a sport that we do. But that's not what I did to you, Stein. That was a total accident.
I believe you.
We never kill the folks that are signed up for our teaching raids on purpose, but sometimes I will send you to your deaths in limited scenarios so you can see what happens, like when I had everybody run off the edge and caught in the web. Because I don't want you to get into a pug and then have something like that happen and then panic because you don't know what to do. We like to teach you not only how to do a raid, but also, you know, sort of what to do and what happens when things go wrong. Okay, great. Puzzles are done. Now the portal for this one is at the top of the stairs in the center in the east. Click on that portal. And now we're going to go to the first puzzle selection room. Lots of puzzles in this raid. Okay. And we can't show you every puzzle. In fact, not even every puzzle is an option every time. Just make sure everybody's here. Okay, so you can see we came into this room and there's like multiple ways you can go. It's always like, you know, north, south, and west. But and it's 3 different puzzles. And you just have to do one of the puzzles to advance the raid, to keep going. And so you're always going to be given a choice of 2. One of the puzzles will always be locked out at random. In this case, the puzzle here that was in the north, which is actually our preferred puzzle. This one's blocked off. And that's the trap room. It's just like a very simple gauntlet of traps you got to run through. If you got a person that can disable them, that's great. And you just run through those and open a door that has some air jets that try to just blow you away, so it's a little tricky, but it's pretty quick, which is why we prefer to do that one. But that's not an option, so the other options here, and they're always in the same location, so that north one that's locked off right now, that's always the trap room. Okay, and the west one is always going to be the portal maze, and then the south one is always going to be the jump room. And we're going to do the portal maze, but I want you to step into the south one just so that you can see it. And this one is actually super easy if you have good Mario skills. If you like jumping and climbing, you'll think this one's super easy. But if you hate that stuff, then this one's a giant pain in the ass. But there are no mobs to fight here. So if you're ever to join a raid late, you know, you could just come in through here if you didn't mind climbing and jumping and stuff. If you look up, let's see, on the west wall, it's hard to see from here, I can't see it from the bottom, but there's a big crystal up there. And basically the objective here is just to climb up to that crystal and break it and destroy it, and then you just advance. But there are some really tricky jumps though, so, and a lot of people really hate this kind of stuff, so we don't typically do this one. But like I said, if you ever to join a pug and they were already further along in the raid, if you wanted to just come in here to get through it, you can do that. Like, it doesn't matter which puzzle you do. Go ahead and go right back out. Just missing Ictimi. There he is. Okay, go ahead and go into the western purple portal. Don't click on things by accident here. So this is a very simple maze of basically left and right choices. And you can find the right answer if you are a dwarf or if you have high intelligence. There's a little riddle. I don't have high enough intelligence, so the folks watching the live stream can't see what the riddle is. But the riddle, it's pretty cool riddles too. So if you like riddles, they're actually well written. And it takes some thinking to figure them out. I am way too lazy to do that though, so I just do it by trial and error. Like I said, it's always going to be a left or right choice, except for one of the rooms. It is not left. Do not. It is right. Well, actually, I want everybody, if you actually go ahead and go left. Go ahead and go left there. If you haven't already gone right, go ahead and go left, because I want you to see what happens when things go wrong. You'll know it's not the correct direction if you see this guy here. And when you click on him, he kills you. Now, if you had D-door, you could just D-door back to the start and run back here, and that would be fine. But otherwise, you could just die, and he teleports you to a little room with a resurrection shrine. Go ahead and click on him. It's okay. It's okay to die. I want you to see it. And just raise yourselves. And after you raise yourself, just click on the portal and it's going to take you right back to the start of the portal maze. And it wasn't left, so we know it's right. And so I'm going to give you directions from here, but go ahead and go right for the first one. And I'm just going to start typing in the directions. Don't go in unless I tell you. I'm going to be the sacrificial lamb here. Okay, the next one's left. This portal maze tends to really, really confuse the hell out of folks that are new to this. So I can't emphasize enough how it's very simple. It's just a series of left and right choices. But I actually did a video just on this puzzle. It's like a 3-minute video or whatever explaining just how this works. Alright, I'm testing. And it's left again. So this is one of the rooms where, like, sometimes there's confusion because you step in and you're like, well, wait a minute, they're both on the left. So what the hell am I supposed to do? It's always going to be a left and right choice based on facing the portals. So, but sometimes you see people write in like left 1 or left 2, you know, referring to the first door on the left or the second portal on the left. But like I said, it's always going to be a left or right choice based on looking at the portals. So I'm going to test, and then by process of elimination, we'll figure out it's not left. So you should go right, and then I have to die. And then I just retrace my steps. Don't go any further, please, because I want to explain that room with all a bunch of portals in it. That's the one that really confuses people. So if you're watching a live stream, I'm just retracing my steps. I went right, then now 2 lefts, and now 2 rights. So I'm facing the portals. I'm going right. And then remember, it's always just face the portals, and it's a left or right choice based on facing the portals. And its soul mine told us it was right. Let's go ahead and pick the right one. And then this is the room that people like freak out because they're like, there are portals everywhere, what do I do? So what you want to do is your left or right choice in this room is dependent on the dwarven runes. You see there's dwarven runes on the north wall. So it's always going to be left or right based on those dwarven runes, left or right of the runes. The other portals don't matter. The correct choice is going to be left or right of the dwarven runes. And it is to the right. And that's the end. Once you go right from there, where you guys are, you're going to jump over the wall behind you. You're going to go over that wall, and you're going to see a big crystal, a phylactery. You're going to break it, and then you're going to just continue to the next zone, another mirror puzzle. So if you're watching the live stream, it's right, left, left, right, right, up. Right, left, left, right, right, and then right again, and now up. Let me just turn around, jump over the wall. There was a phylactery crystal here. They broke it already. And let's go ahead and go through the portal. So everybody who's new, I want you to follow me out to the edge here.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, she got you with your breath weapon. That's okay. We're going to grab your stone and we're just going to jump over. I want to show you guys, if you look down, don't worry about that keeper. If you look down, that's the zone where we started. Go ahead and jump down, guys. And I just want to show you that if you ever, if somebody died down here, somebody was lost, and you need to guide him through, you can just jump down and retrace your steps. And now we're going to go right back through. And this will give us a chance to do the portal maze again. Okay, and now we're just going to go...
I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, you know what? You still got your death timer, so go ahead and just run away from your soulstone, which I have.
You need me to run away again?
Oh, there you are. Well, we already had him once because we jumped down with the stone, so that functionally worked as the first time. Alright, let's go ahead and go through the portal. Here at the top of the steps. High Lords that, you guys are at the next mirror puzzle, you can go ahead and do it while we're doing this. So there's the solution, right, left, right, right, up. So we're going to go west into the portal maze again. And our first choice was right. And then left. And left. And then right based on looking at the portals. And then right again based on looking at the portals. And right again based on the portals that are on each side of the Dwarven runes. And then just turn around and go up.
Is the up room always after the one with like the many portals?
Yep.
Alright, mirror puzzle done.
Hey Dapper, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Okay, so this puzzle's done, and we're just going to go through the portal, which is in the south of the zone. Then just run away from your soulstone. Oh, looks like your keeper's almost dead anyway. That's a weird use to... Oh, nice one. I'm gonna give you 100 bonus points for whoever did that. See, that's how we do it in High Lords right there. My own guildies did it to me on a live stream. That is awesome.
I'm thinking, okay, am I gonna get voodoo or wide stitch?
I love it. Bonus points for that you got me on a live stream. Oh, I'm ready for race. Outstanding. Was that like an elaborate ploy that you guys were planning? Was Ven just like the decoy to get me to go in there? I like it. Go ahead and go through the portal. And look, another mirror puzzle. What a shocker. So, just like before, the new folks, start grabbing some mirrors and go for it. Oh, this is the one that is helpful to actually turn. So I'm going to just rotate the relay crystal 90 degrees to the right, and it's a little bit quicker when you do that. This is the only one in which it's quicker to move the position of the starting relay crystal. And same thing, whenever you're at these mirror puzzles, you know, you can always look over the edge and see the previous puzzle, you know, whether you're on the light or dark side. And the portals to the next zone will always be at the top of the steps in the middle on the shadow side. But on the light side, it'll always be to the side. Okay, portal is up. Go ahead and go through the portal at the top of the stairs. And now we're going to be fighting a little mini boss, no big deal, the Bone Guardian. Shal is... I saw him out here, guys, High Lords, and I invited him. I said we have space, but he said that he's actually leading the raid too. And he just sent me a tell. He's like, I'm teaching the raid too. He should have sent us his first timers. So the thing with this Bone Guardian, guys, if you have really low DPS, he can actually sacrifice the mobs in here to regenerate. So if you were to, you know, if you do this on like an Epic Elite or, you know, Reaper or something like that, that can become an issue if you were in a low DPS group. So just saying. And once he's dead, you can grab your loot. That's just trash loot. No named items come from that chest. But go ahead and grab it and click on the portal. And another mirror puzzle. And now we're like on level 3. So if you go over to the edge, you can look down and you can see like the 2 tiers of puzzles that we already did. And way down there is the beginning. And just like I showed you guys before, if you had to go back to get somebody who's lost or something, you can just jump down and go back through the way we already went. This one had a helm horror, right, to start the thing? Or is that just the next one?
Yeah, no, it was this one.
Okay, yeah, so there was a helmed horror when we zoned in, and he has to be killed in order for the laser beam to start. In the next one, there's going to be a helmed horror and a beholder that have to be killed before the laser beam starts. The next puzzle, all the mirrors are at a 45-degree angle with respect to the previous puzzles, so that kind of throws people off. Damn, you almost got me again. Costa Semer from Greece. Awesome. Somebody's watching us from Greece. It's the slipperiest country.
Is it John Travolta?
Nice.
By the way, the solutions for these, as I said, it's the same every time. The solutions are on the wiki if that interests you. Okay, portal is up in the south. And final mirror puzzle. Like I said, we have a helmed horror and a beholder to the left that we gotta kill in order to activate the laser. Helmed horrors are healed by force, isn't that right?
Correct. And one random elemental damage type. Fire, cold, feather.
They're in other other content now, but I think when this came out, they might have been new. Can't remember. You know, I know you guys asked me if roles were filled earlier, but I'm actually gonna need somebody to do something with preferably tank the call charge proper. Preferably someone separate than Bolo Grub. But or someone to tank the dragon. I always like to tank the Kuljargs when I'm on a healer.
I can do it, Ginger.
Okay, thank you so much. No, I don't want any of the new folks doing it because I want you guys to see all of the end fight. And there's like two different sides. There's like a light side to the end fight and a shadow side to the end fight. And I want you guys to see it all. So if you're watching the live stream, remember I said these mirrors are at like a 45-degree angle relative to all the previous mirror puzzles. So that slight alteration in geometry sometimes really screws people up, but it's the same concept. Sometimes it makes it a little bit harder to visualize where the beam is going. Just run away from your soul stone twice. And you can just jump right over the edge too, because you're going to bounce right back. That's really the easiest thing to do.
Is it stand against the tide that prevents knockdown?
Is it what?
Stand against the tide that prevents you getting knocked out.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work in here.
It does against the Kuljargs, but not against
Okay.
certain dragon attacks.
That's the only thing I care about. If we're gonna tank them.
Yeah, the things that can still knock you down, even though you're immune to knockdown, are things like dragon pounces and wing buffets, unless you're blocking, and I think giant pounds, and maybe even... I'm not sure. I know there are others. If you're stuck, Angry Tiger, let me know. I'll give you a clue. That, you know what, that one, you want to send it over here where I am, where I'm jumping up and down, I think. Yeah. Oh, you know what, so what happened here is the mirrors sometimes bug out. You know, maybe you've seen this if you've done other mirror puzzles, but like you can see, it should be reflecting off of this mirror, but it's not. And so the way that you fix that is you just rotate it all the way around, and it should start it right back up. Sometimes you might have to do it even 2 or 3 times. They're buggy. So, okay, that time it worked. Stein, I swear I did not kill you again on purpose. Go ahead and run away from your soul stone twice. And then from here, Angry Tiger, you're going to want to direct it to where I am right now. From where the beam is hitting its final mirror, and then send it over to here. Stein's never going to join one of our teaching raids again. He's like,
no, I just won't really be doing any of these mirror things.
These guys are just trying to kill me. Here's the relay crystal right here that he's sending it to. Or that's the goal. Almost there. So I have 2 gripes about this raid, and one of them is that there are 6 of these mirror puzzles, which is really overdone. But there's just not a whole lot for other people to do while these mirror puzzles are being done. But at the same time, if you're in an experienced group, you're usually going to be with, you know, there's going to be at least one person that's really quick. I mean, these puzzles can be done, you know, in 30 seconds or so for people who are real good at them. So it's usually not standing around waiting too long. Okay, go ahead and go through the portal at the top of the stairs in the center. And now we're at the second puzzle selection room. And the ones that I wanted are up. Good. So, just like the first puzzle selection room, we're going to get a choice of 2 out of 3. 1 at random will always be locked out. It's always the same puzzles in the same locations. It's just a random one is locked out. So here, the west one is locked out, and this is a puzzle which is called Gravity. And if you're ever in a group where the leader insists on doing this puzzle, don't ever run with that person again. This puzzle sucks. It's interesting. It's clever, but it really requires a lot of people who know how to do it, or who know where to go at least, and requires a lot of coordination, and it just takes a long time. And back in the day, there is an extra junk chest out of it. And back in the day when this was like the highest stuff in the game, people would, want those extra super high level junk chests, because you might get interesting random gen loot. But today, like, it's just not worth doing for that junk chest. And so I would encourage you to avoid at all costs doing the gravity puzzle. It really, really sucks. But it's basically like a 3-dimensional maze, and there's like a switch that you can hit to reverse the gravity, and there are spikes all over the place, so when gravity switches, it can send you up into spikes, and you got to navigate everybody to like these certain pressure plates or pressure switches. And then it's been so long, it's like they have to be hit in a certain order or something, or just maybe they just all have to be hit at the same time, and then once they are, it opens the way and you go to the end and there's a chest, and like I said, it's interesting, but it's a giant waste of time as far as I'm concerned, and it can be very frustrating. So avoid that one. Now, perhaps equally hated is the puzzle to the south, which is called red light, green light. And I want actually everybody to go in there. That's not the one we're going to do, but we are going to just go in there real quick to show you how it works. So, and we'll just, do like the first section of it, and then we'll just detour back or something. Okay, when you get in, don't move. In fact, I would encourage you to put spell absorption on. Very important that you don't move. I should have said that before you even stepped in, but please equip spell absorption. Just make sure everybody's here. Victimy is not in here. We're in the south puzzle, the south portal. Victimy, go ahead and go through the south portal. Okay, here he is. So red light, green light is sort of just like it would suggest. It's like a stoplight. These orbs, which are all throughout this simple maze, are going to fluctuate between red, yellow, and green. Green means it's safe to go. Red means you have to stop, and yellow means it's about to turn red. When it's red, if you move, you're going to get hit for like 1,000-point disintegrate. I don't know exactly how much damage, but actually it kills people really quickly. If you have spell absorption on, it will just take a charge off your spell absorption. Some people, I don't know exactly what their criteria is, but some people get hit even when they're not moving. And so, I think if I remember correctly, maybe some of the bigger framed tunes, like Dragonborn and Warforged, have particular problems with that, but I'm not sure. In any event, this is a puzzle that a lot of people hate. I actually like it. We're about 50-50 split in the High Lord. Some of us really like it and some of us hate it. But people that hate it tend to hate it because, there's a lot of deaths. And, some people get hit even though they're not moving. When this turns green, go ahead and jump down. Falling counts as moving for purposes of taking damage when it's red. Remember spell absorption on. Don't move when it's red. You can attack and cast spells, but if you move, you're going to get that big hit of damage. So there's no death mechanism here, so people can be raised right away. And so here, if you look in the different directions, you can see there's like a pressure plate and some trash mobs, and there's 3 pressure plates that have to be stepped on in order to open up this barrier here. So let's go ahead and do that once it's green.
Ginger, can I point something out?
Yeah.
2 things. First, pets and summons are unaffected. They can be free to summon whenever you like. They won't take any disintegrate damage. And second of all, the cauldrons that we're going to be fighting here, they will knock you down. Being knocked down counts as moving here.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I didn't hear the first thing you said, though.
About pets and summons. Pets and summons of any kind are unaffected by the red-green effect, the disintegrate effect.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that. Okay, so the way is open. So it's basically, just move when it's green, stop when it's red. Yellow tells you it's going to turn red. And, you just make your way through, a kind of a basic maze. There's a couple more points where you have to hit pressure plates to open the way. But we're not going to finish this puzzle. We are going to go ahead and detour. So, Soul, could you toss a detour, and I'm going to wait just to make sure everybody goes through.
Yep.
Everybody take the detour, please.
Somebody died.
I got Steinstone.
Grab stuff.
Ow.
Go ahead and go through.
You guys okay?
Yep. Go ahead and go through, Saga.
This is just not my day for raids.
That's okay. So this is the place. That's what teaching raids are for. To learn these things, experience these things, and there's, it's all good.
So Ginger, you must also note that in red-green, when a player dies, there is no keeper. You can be instantly raised.
Yep. Yeah, and the puzzles, there's no keeper in any of the puzzles. Go ahead and go through, and we're just going to retrace our steps, which means we got to do the portal maze again. But we have the solution. It's good practice. Over on the shadow side, the portal to go to the next zone is always in the middle, at the top of the steps. First puzzle selection chamber, you're going to go west into the portal maze, and there's the solution in chat. Go ahead and make your way through it. I know this raid is probably seeming really long, but when you're in a group, you know, that's experienced with the raid can go pretty quickly. So what I don't want you to take away from this is that this raid's going to take an hour and a half if you join a pug. It could very reasonably be done in about a half an hour. 45 minutes might be more typical, but wouldn't be unrealistic for this one to take an hour. There is some chance involved in the end fight, and if you have bad luck, okay, no problem. Just talk to the dude that kills you, and then just go through it again from the start. Let's make sure that we wait for Sahaga before we go to the next part. Bruno, I have two mains. I tend to keep one of them at cap all the time, and so that's like my main raiding tune, and that happens to be Voodoo right now. I am just finishing up Ginger Spice's Racial Completionist. I'm literally on life 33 of 33, and so my next life with Ginger, I'm taking Ginger to cap, and then parking Ginger there, and Ginger's giving me my main raiding tune, and then I'm going to start Voodoo's Racial Lives, so it just happens to be that Voodoo is my cap's tune right now. I have some others, but like I said, Voodoo and Ginger Spice are my mains. I helped you lead a Von 5-6. Did you watch one of the teaching raid videos or something? Cool, I'm glad that it helped. Appreciate hearing it. That's another really intricate raid, and it's, even to this day, it's common to join a pug Von 5-6 that is just a nightmare because nobody knows what to do. I mean, even leaders will post that raid just like hoping that other people know how it works. One of my guildies was in one just the other day where like the leader didn't know how to do it. Okay, Sahaga made it through. Now we're retracing our steps through the Bone Guardian room. I'm glad to hear that your run was smooth and easy. That is awesome. That leading that raid successfully can be a really big sort of confidence booster. And what's really awesome is when you know it and you end up joining one of those pug raids where nobody else knows what to do and you're like, I got this. Okay, everybody is here. So we're going to do, so remember, west with gravity, don't ever do it. If there's one takeaway from this is don't ever do gravity. And be suspicious of any raid leader that forces you to do that puzzle. South, which we did, was red light, green light. We just showed you the beginning of it, but it's just more of the same of what we already showed you. And now we're going to go north into a puzzle called combat training. And I don't want anybody to go up top yet. I want to make sure everybody understands what to do here. First, take feather fall off. Feather falling is bad in this puzzle because we need to fall quickly. So this phylactery needs to be destroyed in order to go to the end, and the portal to the next zone will be over here. Don't ever go through, in fact, for this second round of puzzles, doesn't matter which one you're doing, don't ever go through, well, especially this one, until the leader says to. I guess it doesn't really matter which one. Because remember earlier I told you that once you go into the shrine room, which is right before the end fight, that's the next room, it locks the raid. Technically speaking, it's once you go into the shrine room and move. So if you went into the shrine room and didn't move, the raid wouldn't be locked yet. You technically have to move first. But basically, don't go into the next zone until your leader says okay, because, you know, if you had a short-handed group, they might want to, you know, keep the LFM up a little bit longer because people can still join late up to this point. And so you don't want to lock the raid and then have the leader get, or, you know, everybody else in there get upset with you. You know, because they wanted to bring a friend or something. Okay, so this phylactery here that we have to destroy to get to the next zone has a shield around it. And we have to, there's a mechanism that we can use to bring the shield down. But you want to have like one person down here that has a really powerful like one shot, like a greater rune, for example. And because that shield's only going to come down for like a real short period of time. And also you don't want to burst. You don't want to do like your warlock burst on it because it's bugged and it actually heals the phylactery. And then people will yell at you. And one of the reasons why we do these teaching raids is so when you join a pug, you don't get yelled at. I don't want you guys to get yelled at. But yeah, if you have a person down here like Vengeance who's got a strong greater ruin, he's just going to park down here and wait for that shield to come down, and he's going to blast it with everything he has. And then he's just going to wait for the shield to come down again. Depending on the difficulty, you know, you might be able to one-shot it. But if you're doing higher, you know, what we did R1 earlier this week. How many times did it take us? How many iterations?
It was 2 people, and it was 3 iterations or 4.
3 or 4 iterations.
Though,
okay.
3.
I think that's probably pretty good for R1.
Which is effectively 6.
All right. So everybody, Vengeance, can you stay down here and do the thing for us? Cool. Everybody else go up the stairs and up the ladder. And nobody attack anything yet. I want everybody to get up here and see what you gotta do. So it's just never-ending trash mobs here. Okay. But notice that one of the mobs, in this case, the cult of the dragon Deathlord in the middle, he's got like a black blob around him. Whoever gets the killing blow on the mob with the black blob, and it's going to be random, like it might not be him next time, you know, it'd be a different one. Sometimes a mob with lower hit points. Whoever gets the killing blow on that mob is going to take on that blobby aura, and then you got to run at the phylactery. okay, and blow up on the phylactery. So run to the phylactery, Sahaga. We're going to see what happens when he doesn't make it in time. So when you take on that blob, you're going to explode like 5 seconds later. And if you explode on the phylactery, it brings that shield down. But if you don't make it to the phylactery in time, then it explodes on you, and you take damage, like just happened to Sahaga. This is why you want to take Featherfall off, because if you're feather falling down at the phylactery, you take a lot longer to get to it, and you might not make it in time.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Sahaga, you're super, super quiet. And we're done. That was it. Was that 1 or 2 iterations?
That was one Greater Ruin, and then the Greater Ruin was on cooldown, but I did manage to get it with the blessing.
Nice. So, whatever mob has the dark blob up there, whoever gets the killing blow gets the dark blob on them. Whoever gets the dark blob needs to jump over the edge and run at the phylactery very quickly. And then explode on the phylactery. If you don't make it in time, it explodes on you, potentially killing you. Back in the day, it would like almost kill everybody, but now we have a lot more hit points and stuff, so like Sahaga was able to survive that. So we're going to go to the end fight now, but before we do that, you know, there's a lot in this raid. Does anybody have any questions about any parts of this raid up to this point? And remember, you don't want to go through this portal until your leader says that it's okay. Notice that when we go through, watch, there'll be a message that says the raid is now locked. It'll appear on the screen. Let's go ahead and go through. So this is the one and only shrine. And as soon as we move, it says the raid is now locked. Go ahead, shrine up. Don't go into the next zone, because the next zone is the end fight, and there's a lot going on in the end fight, and I do need to explain things ahead of time. So don't even bother buffing yet. It'll take me a few minutes to explain. So remember, we saw Aglarasa, the Shadow Dracolich, that was breathing down on us from above when we were doing the mirror puzzles. Well, now we're at the top, where she is. And so it's just sort of a big open area, and the tank will run over and grab Aglarasa and pull her to a corner. We always do the right corner. And the tank will like back into the corner, and the reason for that is, well, two reasons, because if the dragon wing buffets you, you can't be blown any further back if you're in the corner, but if the dragon's facing the corner, and when the dragon does her breath weapon attack, then it doesn't hit anybody else, so the party can safely hit the dragon from behind. So you want to wait till the tank gets the dragon in place before you start DPSing the dragons. There's also going to be trash mobs that endlessly respawn in here, so it's important to have a couple people at least. You know, maybe if you're doing like Epic Elite, you might want to have a few trash people. You know, like a Blitzer is great, or you know, Warlocks are great because they're not, you know, they can just burst and blast endlessly. But basically, you want to have like self-sufficient people on trash, people who can kill mobs quickly, who can heal themselves, and who aren't going to be squishy. I don't understand, Vengeance. Why are you going to do that?
It keeps them.
You broke up. What'd you say?
Only halt undead. They'll just sit there and not do anything for a long time. Unless you attack them.
Hence no responding.
I've never done that before. Let's not do that this time. Just because I just want everybody to see. Like, I've never been in a group that did it that way.
Okay.
Maybe the kids are doing it that way, I don't know. But let's not do it that way this
I
time.
think it's only me.
Okay, so we're gonna have one tank deal with the dragon, and we're gonna have like a couple people, self-sufficient people on trash duty, and I want to get a couple of High Lords to do that. And then Soul Mine, you said you could do the Kuljargs, is that right?
Sure.
Awesome. So there's gonna be these things called Kuljarg Battle Ragers, and they look like dwarven skeletal football players. They're pretty ridiculous. They like wind up and run at you very comically, but they knock you down, which is really irritating. And there are a few different ways to deal with them, and there are some sort of like not working as intended ways, which we're not going to show you because, like I said, we like to show you sort of more proper ways of doing things, and you know, when you go on to Pug this and learn other ways, that's fine. But so what I like to do is have a person like just one person assigned to tank them. Now, if you have a really awesome tank, you can actually have your tank do the dragon and the Kuljargs, but it's a little complicated because getting the Kuljarg over to the tank that's like in the dragon's face can be a little messy. You know, if they're got a bunch of these battle rages around them and you're trying to bring one to them, and you can get caught, you know, between the dragon and the Kuljargs, and it gets a little messy. In fact, we did it that way earlier this week, and you know, some people got caught up, a couple of people got caught up in there, but no big deal. But this time we're going to have someone separate, and the battle ragers are not going to all spawn at the same time. They're red name dudes. They have a lot of hit points. There's no value in killing them because they just respawn. And since they have a lot of hit points, killing them just takes a lot of resources anyway. So you just have one person basically assigned to babysit them. And that's their job for the entire end fight. What I like to do with like some of my casters that have like a torque of Prince Rayum that generates mana when you get hit is you can just sit there and like let the battle ragers hit you, which generates tons of mana, and then you can just like spam spells on the dragon if you're close enough to the dragon, and you just have like endless mana from the Kuljargs hitting you, which is kind of neat. So one dragon tank, one Kuljarg tank, 2 people on trash, and then everybody else will be on dragon DPS. Now, the trash, one of the trash mobs that, you know, it's going to spawn in waves, and one of the trash mobs is called a death, is it a death knight or death, what are they called? The guys that, the casters, what are they called? I can't remember. Anyways, there's red name casters, and when they're out, and there can be up to 5 of them, for every one that's alive in the zone, the Cult of the Dragon Deathlords, thank you very much. For every Cult of the Dragon Deathlord, the casters that are out in the zone, the dragon has 20% damage reduction and does like 40% extra damage with its physical attacks. So for like the trash crew, those are the priority. And, you know, like if you had a group where like you had a lot of attrition and, you know, your trash people are going down and half the party's dead and you got like 4 or 5 of those Cult of the Dragon Deathlords out, like the dragon is like not going to be taking any damage. It's really important to not let those guys linger. But the trash people will take care of them. So the DPS crew, and so all the new folks are going to be part of the Dragon DPS crew. We're going to beat on the dragon until the dragon gets to 50% health. When the dragon gets to 50% health, she's going to start spawning shadows. Just shadow mobs and little shadowy dudes that run around and make creepy sounds. When the shadows die, there's about a 50% chance that they'll spawn a portal to the shadow side. and the portals look like dark orbs, almost like the Zoriat orbs, like in Zorian Cipher, or you know, the ones that are roaming around in like Hound of Zoriat and stuff. But they're smaller than that. They kind of look like let's see if I got my caster, my staff with me. Here we go. They look like this, but smaller and black. Okay, they're about half the size of this orb, but black. Then those are portals to the shadow side. And like I said, when the shadows die, there's about a 50% chance that one of them will spawn. And the Dragon DPS crew is going to click on those portals. Now, what we're going to do is when the shadows spawn, we're going to drag them to the center. There's like a mound in the center of the zone. And the reason why we're going to do that is so that when the portals spawn, people aren't running around looking for them. You know that they're going to be right in the center, because the portals, they're only there for like, I don't know, 6-8 seconds, maybe 10 seconds tops, and then they disappear. So if you have to like run around trying to figure out where the portals are, you're probably going to miss it. So you drag the shadows to the center so that you know where the portals are going to be. I'm going to talk us through this whole thing too, so if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't worry. It's all good. I'm going to talk us through everything. So that's what's happening on the light side. Then there's like the shadow side, and there's a whole different objective over there, which I'm going to explain when we get to it. But I'm going to have all the new folks on Dragon DPS, and all the new folks will be part of that group that when the shadows spawn, we're taken to the center, and you go through to the shadow side. You click on that little portal. And, you know, I just want to emphasize that when people are newer to this raid, they sometimes, you know, they don't notice the portals. So really keep an eye out for them, and if you're clicking on it, you know, with your mouse cursor and you're just swinging at it, you might have to manually select it and click use to get through it. Whatever, if you have hotkeys set up for that or whatever, you have to use the gears or whatever. It's just I see people like, you know, standing there swinging at it, and you can tell they're trying to click on it, but they don't actually get through. Any questions before we get started in the end fight? Let's go ahead and get buffs. Okay, everybody go ahead and go through. Bolo's on the dragon. Soul Mine's on the Calljargs. Vengeance and Ganon, can you be our other trash person? Or... okay, thank you. I should have typed that in, but it's okay. Also, if you're new, go ahead and go to the far edge. Yeah, if you get a Calljarg, just take it of a Soul Mine. Soul Mine, I want you to just stand in our usual favorite spot near the dragon. I just want to show you, like, here we are, above all the other zones. If this end fight ever went south, people are dying, you need to grab soul stones and just sort of, you know, raise up and regroup. You can grab soul stones and jump over the edge and go back through. And go right back into, like, into the shrine room. So if you get a Calljarg, take it over to Soul Mind. Wait, where are you going to be, Soul Mind?
Well, there's 5 of them. I'm going to pick 4 of them up and then sit over by the north middle.
Okay. Just take them over to Soul Mind in the north. Okay. If you're not on trash duty and you're not one of the tanks, go ahead and start beating on the dragon from behind. When she gets to 50% health, and then like every 10% health or so after that, maybe 20% health after that, that's when she spawns shadows. Oh, Eugene, I'm just now seeing that you wrote Deathlord. Appreciate that. I didn't notice it at the time, but I couldn't remember what the hell they were called. Okay, the dragon's getting close to 50% health. Remember, when she spawns the shadows, just drag him to the center on top of that rubble pile. In fact, just everybody who's not a tank or a trash person, just go to the center. The shadows will follow us once she spawns them, and we'll get a message that says that she spawns shadows.
Vince, could you please dismiss your cut?
Here we go. Dragon DPS group to center. Bring the shadows to the center. Kill the shadows on the center mound. And click on the portal when it spawns. There you go. Portal's up. Everybody click on that. Don't move once we're in here.
No, Ginger.
Just want to make sure all our new folks. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Soul. I want to make sure our new folks are here. They are. Great. The portal behind us goes right back into the dragon fight. So if you ever needed to get back there because people were dying or something, you could. That's a quick way to get back there. And there's gonna be a couple helmed horrors here, a couple beholders. We're gonna make our way around in a big circle and kill them. Let's go around clockwise. The helmed horrors and the beholders, they won't respawn, but these shadows will endlessly respawn. Oh, I just walked right by one of the beholders. Okay, now we're gonna have another beholder on the other side and another helmed horror. Don't walk through the beam. Okay, cool. Now it's just going to be shadows that spawn to irritate us. Okay, so let's sure everybody's over here where I am in the southeast corner. So there's a special objective that needs to be done on this side, and that is like we have to destroy the dragon's phylactery, but we have to find it. It's in a random location. There are 6 different locations, and you can see that portal there. That leads to like a little room with a phylactery, but there are like decoy phylacteries, and so we sort of have to find the right one. And if you change the position of this laser beam, you just click on it and move it to the next relay crystal, you see a different portal comes up, which leads to another little room that has a phylactery, and that may or may not be the real one. And you can see there are 3 relay crystals. I'm going to rotate this around. That you can point the laser beam at, and so 3 different portals, so 3 different little rooms that all have phylacteries in it. Now come to the north now. And it's the same thing here. There's 3 possible portals. I'm going to rotate it. You can see the one's up in the corner now, but I'm going to rotate. There's another portal, right? And I'm going to rotate it around again. Watch yourself. Don't let yourself get hit by the beam.
I want to grab this Deathwyrm. Thank you.
And there's another portal. So there are 6 different rooms, 6 different phylacteries. One of them is the real one, and 5 of them are like decoys. And so hypothetically, what you can do is you can like put people in each one of those rooms and have them all destroy the phylacteries. But as soon as one of the phylactery goes down, like 2 or 3 seconds later, anybody in one of those rooms gets sucked out back to the dragon fight, regardless of whether it was the real phylactery or not. So what you can do, and I think sort of the way they intended it to be done, is that you would send people into the different rooms, and you would have them all prep the phylacteries. And then a kill order could be given, and you could all take down the phylacteries at the same time. And if you were to do that with all 6 of them, you would hypothetically have a 100% chance in getting the correct phylactery. However, on higher difficulties, it becomes so problematic to try to coordinate that, because all kinds of procs, people can't control their DPS, or they have slow DPS, or too much DPS, or whatever. People end up killing out of sequence. I mean, even in the High Lords, and we're very, very disciplined, I guess, about our guilds, our guild raids. We even like struggle. We don't even try to do that like on higher difficulties. We used to do it like back in the day when we used to do this on normal. We actually would do all 6 at the same time. But on higher difficulties, it just became too difficult to try to get everybody to prep and kill at the same time. Because here's the thing, like I said, if one phylactery goes down, like if one person had a mishap and broke it too soon, then everybody gets sucked out into the dragon fight, and then like that whole chance was wasted. All those people have to go back through here and and get set up again. So instead of trying to coordinate that, what you're probably going to find in just about every group that you ever do is they're just going to do it one at a time. I'm going to move this crystal back to its original position. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to, one at a time, going to destroy one phylactery at a time. So we're going to send somebody in, they're going to destroy the phylactery. When they're out, they're going to let us know that they're out, and then then that room resets, and then we try again. So it's like each time that we destroy the phylactery, it's like rolling a 6-sided die, hoping that we get a 6, that was the correct phylactery. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Lemuria and Angry Tiger, I want you to go ahead and go in there and destroy that phylactery and let us know when you're out. So they're gonna we're just doing it one at a time. We have a 1 in 6 chance each time. Just unload on the phylactery.
You got it.
Okay, are you out?
I'm traveling now.
Okay, if you guys on my side, if you were to go in there before they were out, then you would just get sucked out with them. So you want to make sure they're out back on the dragon side before you go in there. So Wide Stick and Ictomy, go ahead and go in there. And then just unload on the phylactery. So we're trying again. We got a 1 in 6 chance of this being the correct one. There's going to be shadows in there too, so it's, on higher difficulties, well, we got it. Second try. That's awesome. Okay, so, those of you still on my side, if you look, the middle dome is gone, and there's a bunch of crystals on the ground. Go ahead and grab one of those crystals. You can only pick up one, and go back through the portal in the west, which takes us to the dragon fight. And then you're going to click on the ward flames that are all around the outside of the center mound, and you're going to like put a crystal in there, and it's going to light it up like a torch. And what we want to do now is wait for more shadows to spawn, bring them to the center, and have those portals spawn in the center. There's shadows in the center now, and click on the portal in the center. Everybody who's part of the Dragon DPS crew, click on a portal in the center, and grab another shard of the phylactery, and then turn right back around and go back through. And we need to light up all of those ward flames. There's like 8 or 9 of them. All of these ward flames have to be lit up in order for the raid to complete. This doesn't complete the raid, but this is one of the necessary criteria. Okay, so
only need one more.
we have one more to get. So we need to spawn more shadows, which means we need to beat on the dragon some more. If the dragon goes down to 0, and you know the ward flames weren't done, it should just regenerate. So you can keep beating on her, you know, and every 20% health or so she spawns more shadows. Okay, more shadows, go to the center. DPS crew, go to the center. Dragging shadows with you. Kill the shadows on the center mountain. Again, that's just so that we know where the portals are. There it is.
I think Ictom is on the shadow side, Ginger.
What?
I think Ictom is still on the shadow side.
Oh, okay. Everybody who's on the shadow side, just go ahead and go through that west portal. That'll bring you back to the dragon fight. Oh, he's stuck over there. Did anybody grab his soul stone by any chance?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have to spawn more shadows to get him over here.
I'm over here now. I don't see him anywhere.
I wonder if he's in the... Go into the phylactery room that's up. Maybe he's in there.
Possibly.
Yep, got him.
Okay, great. Solutions, we have them. Okay, all the ward flames, we don't need to go back through. All the ward flames are already lit, so you can just ignore any additional portals. Gijo, get the dragon in the corner, because I want to, or out of the way somewhere. I want to explain how this works. Well, actually center's fine. Doesn't matter. Okay, so stop dragging DPS for a second. I want to explain some things to the new folks. So the dragon has to die on the center mound. If she doesn't die on the center mound, then she's just going to get right back up and regenerate. And it can sometimes be difficult to tell where she's at exactly, but if you target her, you want to look at her targeting circle, which is very small relative to her body. If that little white targeting circle is anywhere on this center mound, even if it's just barely touching it, that's fine, but she has to go down on that center mound. And when she goes down, you have about a 4-second window to pull this lever in the south, and there's another lever in the north. See where I'm jumping, guys, in the south here? I'm right behind some of you guys. Angry Tiger, I'm right behind you. Stein, Iktimi, and Sahaga, I'm behind you. See where I'm jumping? At this lever here. When the dragon goes down, this lever, and then go to the north with me. That lever down there and this lever here needs to be pulled. And you have like a 3 or 4 second window to do it. And it's going to like shoot a laser beam at her. And so she needs to go down on the center mound. When she goes down, both of these levers need to get pulled, and then we win. There's going to be endless trash that spawns, and so one of the challenges is that sometimes a person on the lever can get aggro trash mobs, and it can interrupt them pulling the lever. And so what we like to do in our guild raids is have 2 people at each lever, and that way at least one of them should be able to get that lever pulled. So this is one mistake that I feel like pugs make, is they'll just put one person on each lever, and then, you know, that person gets overwhelmed by trash mobs when they're supposed to be pulling the lever, and then they don't get it off, and then the dragon regenerates, and then you got to beat the dragon down again. So, like I said, we like to have 2 people at each lever. So, and then I also like to have another person when the dragon gets close, like below 10%, to have like a person with some kind of AoE like firewall, put firewalls on the levers. That way if any trash mobs do spawn, the firewall will make them aggro on that other person. So the people on the lever shouldn't be fighting trash, because you don't want that aggro. Because when this lever needs to get pulled, you need to, that's like your top priority. That lever needs to get pulled, and it needs to get pulled now. So let's see. Iktimi, since you're a range tune, I want you to stay on this lever. And Lemuria, can you be on this lever too, in the north?
Sure.
Cool. And Vengeance, can you be that person with firewalls?
Sure.
Thank you. And then, oh, how about Stein? Come over to this lever with me. And you and I will be the two guys that are going to staff this lever. And everybody else can beat on the dragon. Stop dragon DPS. If the dragon ever leaves the center mound, immediately stop DPS. She will go down when she's at about, I don't know, 2-3% health. In other words, she does go down. She collapses before before all of her hit points disappear. She will collapse. As soon as she goes down, we have to pull the levers. Let's go ahead and get firewalls on the levers and start unloading on the dragon.
Alright. Hold on. Put it on fire here.
Watch the dragon's health. Get ready to pull the levers, guys. Don't pull until I say. Get ready on levers. Pull, pull, pull. Pull the levers. And we win.
Nice.
Good job,
Congrats
guys.
on your first Temple of Deathwyrm, guys. Drag all the trash to the chests. Just clear up the trash. If you have any questions about any parts of this raid, let me know. And the good news is the next raid is way, way less complicated. And will go much faster. Okay, new folks, grab a chest. Help yourselves. Good luck. Thanks, Eugene. I appreciate that. If anybody watching the live stream has any questions about this one, let me know. And we're going to move to Fire on Thunder Peak next. If anybody doesn't want their Shadow Dragon Phlogiston, you're welcome to pass it to me and I'll roll it off. The Shadow Dragon Phlogistons are used to craft Tier 3 on your Thunderforged weapons. D50 on the Dark Diversion. That's an assassin item, so I don't think we have any assassins here, do we? So anybody can roll on that D50.
Phylogen for you in the center chest.
D1000, I have 5 Shadow Dragon Phlogistons here. The 3 highest rollers and the 2 lowest rollers on the D1000 will get one. You need 30 of these to craft your Tier 3, so it's kind of a grind. To roll, you type /roll D1000 or whatever die they tell you, in this case 1000. Okay, it looks like Angry Tiger. Sahaga and Lemuria are the 3 high rollers, so let me give you those.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And our low rollers are Vengeance with an 83 and Ictomy with a 164.
Thank you.
Does anybody at all want that dark diversion? Nobody rolled on it.
I rolled on it,
I'll take
actually.
it. Yeah, somebody else rolled.
Oh, Angry, you rolled on it?
Yeah, he
Oh
rolled
yeah,
really
when you
high,
got a
too.
good roll
If somebody
too.
really needs it, please
No,
help
no, here you go.
themselves.
Here you go, man. I didn't see your roll.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Why don't you go? Let's take a few-minute break. People can go bio and grab a drink or something, and you can turn this one in, and we're gonna do Fire on Thunder Peak next. I'm gonna step away a minute myself. Be right back. I'm back. Looking for items with green slots. Nope. So I'm gonna take 100 comms. Somebody asked me in a live stream a couple months ago, why do I take comms instead of the heart seeds? And it's just because I'm pretty much done epic reincarnating all my tunes. I don't need any more heart seeds, but I can use the commendations to buy stuff. And just in case there's anybody watching the live stream right now that doesn't know this, because this is just one of those things that if nobody ever tells you, you don't know. You can double click on Commendations of Valor and a barter box will come up. And you can buy some stuff. And I like to buy these potions of spell power plus 25. You can see I have a 100 stack here. And those do stack with like the spell power potions that you get from like the House P vendor. So like this potion of greater brilliance that gives me a plus 20 alchemical bonus to light and alignment spell power actually does stack with this potion of spell power plus 25, even though it says 25 alchemical bonus, but this time it's an alchemical bonus to universal spell power. And because it's universal and the other one is light and alignment, they do stack even though they're both alchemical. So that's why I take Commendations of Valor, because I like to use them to buy these spell power potions and run with those most of the time. At least when I'm doing like Reapers and stuff. Because why not? And then of course you can get your Hearts of Wood, your Iconic and your Epic Heart of Wood with 4,200 commendations, or with 42 heart seeds. And you can trade 100 commendations for 1 heart seed. Okay, when you're back, go ahead and talk to Ingrid again, and you're going to go to the mountain summit. Okay, we're just missing Stein. Go to, talk to Ingrid and go to the mountain summit. Alright. So for this one, like I said, it's basically just like a big open football field with 2 red dragons. There's not puzzles. It's not convoluted like the last one. And it's going to go a lot faster. This raid's going to be over in like 15 minutes. I'd like to do Epic Elite. It might be a little intense. I know we can handle it. If we do Epic Elite, that way everybody gets max favor. You might die a couple of times. We'll get more loot. So I hope that's okay with everybody. Is anybody feeling like they hate that idea? Alright. We got you. I know these High Lords here can handle it. So, if things start going wrong, we're going to make them do all the work. So, go ahead and step in. And you can see it's just like one big open zone, right? And this is the whole raid right here. There aren't any other zones. Don't buff yet. I just want to take a couple minutes to explain things. Once we step forward and we talk to the artifact there in the center, you see there's an artifact that has like a light beam shooting up into the sky. Once we talk to that, the raid will lock, and nobody will be able to enter the raid at that point. And that'll get things started. And then 2 big red dragons will fall down from the sky, fly down, and we're going to have separate tanks assigned to each one. So if you have 2 proper tanks, that is ideal for this raid. And these dragons hit pretty hard, even by today's standards. If you're doing like Epic Elite or Reaper, you really want to have folks that, you know, that can manage these dragons. And if you don't have proper tanks and these dragons are running around all Willie Nelson, they can just plow you over and one-shot you, and they can wipe a party who isn't, you know, who isn't prepared. They can wipe a party pretty quick if they're just rampaging around. So it is really ideal and preferable, in my opinion, to have 2 proper tanks that can really hold the dragons in place. And so there are 2 dragons. Their names are Therixata and Navarlich, but we're going to affectionately call them Fatty and Skinny to keep it simple, since their names are hard to remember. And Fatty spawns in the south, and Skinny spawns in the north. They have to be kept separate. If they get too close, then they become like immune to damage. And so basically, like if you look in that the far back corner on the left, I'm going to be holding Fatty there, and then Bolo Grub is going to be holding Skinny somewhere in that north corner up there. And then the dragons can only be DPS down a certain amount, like maybe like 20% or something, 10% at a time. And what's going to happen is you're going to beat on one dragon, and then it will become immune to damage. And when it becomes immune to damage, its skin will look like magma, and you'll hear us say, like, you know, north is magma, DPS crew south. So there's gonna be like a dragon DPS group that's gonna switch between dragons. As one dragon becomes vulnerable, we'll attack it. When it becomes invulnerable, we switch to the other dragon. So you're gonna be moving back and forth to DPS these dragons down. There's gonna be trash that endlessly respawns, and so you want to have, you know, people that are good at killing trash, people that are self-sufficient is great, people that, you know, aren't gonna, you know, are gonna be self-sufficient, not be able to kill lots of trash without, blowing through their blue bar or something. And the trash, because it just endlessly respawns, and there's a whole bunch of different types of trash mobs, it's just sort of a numbers game. Really, when you're on trash duty, it's just about keeping the numbers down so that we don't have to deal with, like, red dungeon alert. So if you're on trash duty, you really want to focus on, like, killing the easy stuff first, like the skeletons and the hellhounds, and then, once that little stuff is dead, because, like I said, it's just really about keeping the numbers down, about keeping that dungeon alert down, then you can start working on the tougher mobs like the salamanders and the casters or whatever. There's also 2 magma brutes, like they look like earth elementals, but magma. And they have a lot of hit points. And they will respawn pretty much as soon as they die, so there really isn't any value in spending time killing them. So what's great is if, like, 1 or 2 of the trash people just sort of kite them around with them as they're killing trash. They're kind of slow. If you stay ahead of them, it's not really a big deal. And it's really just a waste of time and resources if you're trying to kill them, because, like I said, they have a lot of hit points, and they're just going to respawn anyways. But the rest of the trash mobs can be killed to help keep the numbers down. So we're going to have, I guess 3 people on trash. We'll see how that works. And then everybody else but the 2, except we'll have 2 tanks, and then everybody else will be dragon DPS, moving back and forth between the dragons. Cool, thank you, Vengeance. And then at one point the dragons will fly away, maybe about halfway through things, and these 2 like gargantuan like magma elementals will come out. They're called the Volcanic Annihilator and the Volcanic Devastator, I believe, and they're huge. And we're just going to bring them together in a pile with all the trash. So at that point, the dragons are gone, and literally everybody will just make a pile. That way all the AoEs can hit them. We're not going to try to separate them. Then we're just going to make a big pile and just blow everything up. Trash crew, DPS crew, and the tanks. All one big pile. And when the Volcanic Annihilator and Devastator are dead, the dragons will respawn. They'll reappear. And the tanks will reestablish aggro. The DPS crew will be on one of the dragons, and then when that is DPS down as far as it can go, you switch to the other. And back and forth until they get to 50% health. Once the dragons get to 50% health, then there's a new objective, and is that we have to destroy the artifact in the center. And there's going to be a shield around the artifact up to that point. But once the dragons are at 50% health, that shield will drop, and then like the DPS crew will beat on the artifact. You'll be able to beat it down by about 20% health, and the shield will come back up. A minute later, it'll come down. At that point in the raid, the DPS crew is no longer working on dragons. It's only artifact and trash. So we'll have the 2 tanks just holding the dragons in the corners, and everybody else is on artifact and trash at that point. There is no value in DPS and the dragons down at that point in the raid, and this is another mistake that you'll see pugs make. You'll see people attacking the dragons at that point in the raid, and there's no point. In fact, it's actually counterproductive, because if people are DPS and the dragons, they can pull aggro. They could potentially pull aggro off the tank, and then the dragons are running around. The reason why there's no value in DPS and the dragons at that point is because once the artifact is destroyed, the dragons immediately drop to 5% health. Whatever health they were at, they immediately drop to 5%. So any DPS you did to them was meaningless at that point in the raid. So just let the tanks hold them, and everybody else works on artifact and trash. When the artifact goes down, it will explode, and it will do a lot of damage to you, one-shotting anybody that doesn't have a lot of hit points, most likely. If you were a High Lord, we would tell you that you had to be beating on it so that it would kill you if it was your first time. Because, like I said, we're always trying to kill each other in High Lords. But we're not going to do that to you. It's just sort of like a rite of passage. Like you tell people to, the little gag that they play on people when it's their first time in Shroud. They tell them to click on the portal at the end and that kind of thing. So I'm just letting you know that's like sort of a hazing thing that sometimes people will do. But we're not doing that to you. When the artifact is about to go down, don't be anywhere near it. Range it down. In fact, we just did it to one of our guildies the other night. On Wednesday night when we did this. Alright. Once the artifact is destroyed, the dragons will drop to 5% health, and the DPS crew will go off to the north dragon, kill it, go to the south dragon, kill it, then we win. So the nutshell version is, the tanks hold the dragons in north and south, the dragon DPS crew moves back and forth between the dragons, while trash crew just kills trash for the whole raid. Once the dragons are at 50, then everybody's on artifact and trash, till the artifact is destroyed, then we kill the dragons. Any questions before we get started? Alright, let's get some buffs. Oh, I need trashy people. I want all the... Well, it doesn't really matter. Like, if any of the new folks feel like they'd be good at trash, you can do trash. Otherwise, I'm going to put you on Dragon DPS. Lemuria, can I put you, yeah, Lemuria or Ganon, one of you I want to put on trash. Okay, Ganon. Okay, on Fatty in the south is going to be me, and Skinny in the north is going to be Bolo Grub. Trash is going to be Vengeance, Sahaga, Soul, and Ganon, and everyone else is part of the Dragon DPS group, and everyone will start in the North Dragon. So everybody, except for me, will start in the north. Okay. Here we go. Talk to the artifact to get things started. And then the dragons will fly down. And the raid is now locked. Ah, I still have energy sheet twisted in from when we did RSO last night. I don't have my sacred ground twisted in, which is something that's helpful to keep me healed, but we'll find a way to live without it. So I'm not going on this rock because it's any kind of safe spot, it's just a convenient place to hang out.
North is magma, DPS team south.
DPS south, north is magma. Notice the dragon skin looks like magma. Dragon DPS crew south. Oh, there's no trash yet. The trash doesn't start spawning until like after the first 2 rounds of dragon DPS. So everybody can work on dragons for this part. DPS crews stay south. Trash will start spawning here any moment. Hey Katrina, welcome to the live stream. And trash is up, so the 4 trash people start working on trash, everybody else stays on dragon DPS. And the dragon DPS crew should be working on the south dragon right now. South is Magma, DPS crew north. Okay, dragons are taking their little break, and the Volcanic Annihilator and Devastator are going to spawn. Bring everything together, all trash, and both of the big guys. Just bring it together. Both these magma brutes are on me now. It's gonna make it a little tricky. Okay, DPS crews stay north. Dragons reappear. Tanks reestablish aggro and pull their dragons to their respective corners. Thank you, whoever pulled that magma alley off me. At this point in the raid, the dragons will get a buff called Artifact Rage, in which their attacks, maybe it's just their physical attacks, do 300% their normal damage. So they're very painful. And that buff will alternate between the 2 dragons. It's like right now Fatty has it. If you examine them, it looks like a fairy fire icon, kind of like a fireball looking icon. It's called Artifact Rage, and it says plus 300% damage. Maybe that's with all attacks. And then once we get to the final phase, they're going to get another buff called Artifact Overdraw, where they're going to do 400% damage. And the damage they can put out is pretty ridiculous. And I really want, like, the new
North
folks.
Magma. North is Magma.
DPS crew south. I really want the new folks to experience what that feels like. Oh, also, if you've heard of the augment called Meridian Fragment, it comes from this raid, and that's the Meridian artifact is there in the center. Right now, I believe the North Dragon has the big buff. Okay, no more dragon DPS from this point. Everybody is on artifact and trash only. The 2 tanks will just hold the dragons until the artifact is destroyed.
Got some trash on the North Dragon.
If you could help pull that off with Bolo, that'd be awesome. Hurts, don't it? The South Dragon has the big buff. Right now, I encourage all new folks to get in her face, just to see what that feels like. It's pretty intense. If she gets a good couple hits on me, she'll take me down. Sorry for those watching the live stream. This is a bad camera angle, but not a whole lot I can do. DPS this magma brute down so it'll die and respawn that way and won't have the aggro.
Artifact.
So like I was saying before, there's no point in DPS in the dragons right now because as soon as the artifact goes down, the dragons drop to 5% health no matter what they were at. So it's really just a waste of time, and like I said, the consequence is that you could potentially pull aggro off the dragons, and if the dragons are rampaging through everybody, that can cause serious problems. You know, if you got a dragon that's doing 400% damage, just steamrolling through everybody, you can get a lot of deaths really quick, and this raid can get out of hand really fast. When you have 2 proper tanks that can hold the dragons, it makes this raid go so smoothly. Now, sometimes people will kite the dragons at this stage in the raid, but that's very common. It's really tough to stand up to the dragons when they're doing this kind of damage, but so like I said, a lot of people will kite the dragons at this point, like back and forth across the south or the north. Gross, yeah, I do. You know, this is the time, and these teaching raids, it's time for them to experience some of these things, so that you know they know what to do and what not to do when they're joining a pug. I hate how that examination window appears right in the middle now. Like it seemed like right around in Ravenloft is when that started happening, and it's so irritating. Really needs to spawn off to the side. So just with my aura here, she's just about down. Or he, I don't know which one's the he and which one's the she. My dragon in the south still has the big buff. If any of the new folks want to see what that feels like, come on over. Get in her face. Pretty intense, huh?
Jeez, that's crazy. Thank you.
And that's not, imagine if these dragons were running around loose and just plowing through people with that kind of damage. It really just emphasizes like how quickly this raid can get out of hand if these dragons are loose.
It's bad when you're in the minuses more than your total hit points.
For those of you watching the live stream, when I first built Voodoo, when Warlock first came out, a design goal was to be able to tank these dragons on Epic Elite through the whole raid, even through this big 400% and buff. And at the time, you know, that was a big deal at the time. There weren't, you know, a proper tank could do it, but you know, a Warlock, that was something new, and so that was like a challenge for me to build a Warlock that could tank these dragons. These were the end game raids at the time. Oh, DPS crew north, go on the North Dragon. When the North Dragon goes down, switch to the South Dragon. So these aren't the end game raid bosses anymore, but that was, like I said, a design goal, a primary design goal of Voodoo when I first was creating her after Warlock came out. Congrats, guys. For those of you it's your first, drag all trash to the chests in the center. You get 3 chests on Elite, 2 on Hard, 1 on Normal. Here you're going to get Fire Dragon Phlogistons, which are also used to craft Tier 3 Thunderforge. Different recipes require, you know, some of them require Shadow, some Fire, some both.
That's right, some raises using nature.
Garrosh, I'm not swinging anything. All my damage is coming from my bursts. Okay, new folks, help yourself to the chests. Congrats again on your first Fire on Thunder Peak, for those of you it was your first. If you have any questions about this raid, let me know. If you don't want your fire flogs, pass them to me, I'll roll them off. Lavender hair dye.
Get that little stone up for stone.
That's still a really cool shield for like a druid caster. And some others. And that ward token ring was pretty awesome when it first came out, but by today's standards it's definitely aged. D50 on the ward token if anybody wants that. D1000 on the Fire Dragon Flogs. The 3 high rollers and the 2 low rollers will win. Looks like Sahaga gets the ward token. rats.
That's Lemuria on the shield.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congrats everyone on the raids tonight.
Thanks for helping out, everybody. Alright, let's figure out these rolls here. I only see 4 people rolling on the flog, so I'm going to give all of you one, and then I'm going to roll the 5th one off. So let's see, Vengeance, Angry, Sahaga, and Ictomy. And we'll do D222. Whoever gets the high will get this 5th one. Lemuria, you didn't even roll in the first round. If you
Yeah, I forgot to roll.
I would have just given you this one.
Give her it.
But okay, yeah.
No, that's okay.
No, I'm
The
just
high
gonna give it
roller
to you.
gets it.
This way everybody gets one. I'm just gonna give it to Lemuria. So everybody who wanted
Yeah,
one gets
thank
one.
you.
Okay, guys. That is all. Thanks for coming out. Don't forget to turn it in, and have a great night.
Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
everyone for coming.
Oh,
Thanks
Garrosh.
a lot, Voodoo and everybody.
When the dragon swings, I'm gonna try to scroll
Have a
up
nice
and find
evening.
that. It might be too late at this
Come here,
point,
have
but
a
I'll
night.
try to find it.
Peace, y'all.
And for those of you watching the live stream, if you have any questions about either of these raids, I'm going to be monitoring chat for another 5 minutes. I am going to try to find dragon damage on me before I shut down the live stream. Have a great night, guys.
Later.
Let's see. It's probably long gone. Oh no, there's... Yeah, this looks like it's all from the trash. But, for what it's worth, I'll show you what my numbers are. Like, I'm not a true tank, you know, I don't have, you know, true tanks are getting AC of like 3, 4, 500 now, you know, and in PRR, you know, closer to like 300. Wheezing a little bit, sorry if that's coming through. So 202 armor class, 247 PRR, 160 MRR. It would have been a little higher because of the deific warding feat would have been stacking up. But at least it gives you an idea of... And by the way, when I first created Voodoo to do this, you remember I said it was a design goal to tank these dragons on Epic Elite. I couldn't do it reliably. So I had to build up some past lives. I had to build up some epic past lives. And I like went epic completionist, which is a total of 12 epic past lives. Then at that point I was able to do it reliably. I don't typically go down on these dragons. Once in a while, if the dragon hits me like 3 times in a row, like really quickly, that can bring me down, but I can survive a couple hits. But if it hits me like 3 times in a row, I don't have time to recover, especially if like my Shining Through was on cooldown or something. But at this time I didn't even have to use Staunch. You know, it was just the Shining Through, the Rejuvenation Cocoon, and the Renewal. I didn't. In fact, normally I would have twisted in Sacred Ground so that I could throw Consecrations down, and then that would be healing me with the Sacred Ground. But I forgot to twist out energy sheath. You know, I had that twisted in because we did riding the storm out the other night. So while we're talking about it, I'm gonna twist sacred ground in. So that would have been another form of healing that I typically would have. And like I said, I did tank this on Wednesday night in our guild run on R1, and it went about the same. I had no problems. But I have not tried tanking these dragons on higher than R1. You saw thousands. Yeah, no, there definitely would have been. The dragons hit really hard. When they're doing 400% damage, it gets really intense. And that's why I was saying in the live stream that a lot of people would just kite the dragons at that point. And even then you can get caught up. And that's, you know, it is really preferable to have proper tanks deal with those dragons. But sometimes it's hard to find proper tanks. Like, I get that. But if you can have proper tanks, just hold the dragons, especially when they're self-sufficient. You know, a paladin can keep itself healed. You know, warlock can keep itself healed. And then nobody else has to worry about the dragons. When those dragons get loose and they start running over everybody, like, anybody with less than 1,000 hit points is just going to be obliterated when that dragon starts just rolling through people. I've seen it happen. I've seen this raid get out of hand back in the day. Okay, guys. I am going to shut down the video feed, but I'm going to monitor the chat for 5 minutes. If anybody has any final questions, let me know and I will respond in chat. Thanks for tuning in and have a great night.